and sing it one and all. Join in the chorus, North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.
Welcome back, Shin Boners. On today's pod, we'll be previewing a huge clash against the Pies. Saturday night prime time. Can we back up a win against the Tigers will be the big question. To help me break it all down and provide some analysis, the big chief, Chieftain, how are we?
Yeah, good. Still enjoying the glowing feeling of being a winner. And, hopefully we back it up, like you said.
And it's a big game Saturday night to see if we can. And I'm a bit worried because I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like the boys will back it up. Not necessarily in a win, but with a good performance. And that scares me because I felt that way against the Swans and we saw the result there, as well as Good Friday. I felt really good going into that as well. So the optimism is back, but that also brings a level of concern as what we've seen in past instances.
Yep, agree. There's a couple of outs for Collingwood. Moore not getting up. Breaking news.
And still side bottom will be managed as well. And they've just announced a third debutant.
Have they? Well, Houston as well is going to be named, but I doubt he'll play. He's got a calf. He's limping at training, so I don't reckon he'll get up in 2 days. He wouldn't risk a calf.
No, not when they think they're going to beat us. Or they've rested a few already. But before we get into our full-blooded preview, let's have a look at the injury update with, as you heard first here on the Shin Boners pod, that Darcy Tucker, we mentioned last pod, looked like they were having some issues with his back and the timeline was not looking good. Well, he's been ruled out for the rest of the season. So what that does do, though, it opens up a second mid-season draft spot available for the club should they choose to use it. And we've had some questions about who we are looking at from our lovely listeners over on YouTube. So I thought we'd have a quick chat about it, about what we need and who are we looking at. So the one that we've been most linked to, I think, that I've seen anyway, is Archer May, who is a key forward.
Yep, out of the waffle.
But I think in terms of what we need, like small forwards, Luke Dowhouse is... No, not Luke Dowhouse. Someone Dowhouse. Running around in the VFL as well.
Whose house?
Dowhouse. Yeah, I just love the last
I don't know if we need a small forward. I went through earlier in the year. We've got about 6 or 7 on the list.
But they're all no good. That's the problem.
Well, not all of them, because I counted PC, even though he plays as a key forward. But you've got at least 5 or 6. But yeah, none of them are AFL elite.
And there's another one by the surname of McCartan, who's a halfback flanker, who they reckon's a top 3 lock for the mid-season.
Is that the Richmond guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they reckon he'll go number 1 to wet toast. But he played us in the VFL and had high 20s disposals, so they reckon he'll be number 1, yes. I'll have to say, look, I don't follow the VFL reserves other than our team, and as for all the other state leagues, I don't know, so I'm only really going off what I read from the Tuma.
Yeah, the best in the business, Count Toomey.
So he's linked Archer May to us, and don't know if might leave the next one open or not. Depends how long their contract is, because they can nominate 6 months or 18 months.
There's the Frog loves to mention too. We've got those extra 2 list spots at the moment, so they might not want to occupy both because we could potentially lose them come season's end. So.
Although, talking about poor Darcy Tucker with his back, we wish him all the best, but I believe he's out of contract.
He is. I think he...
And I suggest... Not that I want to put a line through anyone's career, but he may be right on the chopping block.
Well, we're an opinions podcast, and I'll just straight up say it. I think he and Miller Bergman, unfortunately, season-ending injuries, both out of contract and both done.
I agree, and I reckon he'll be Testicle, pod favourite. He's borderline too, I reckon.
Yeah, well, he's still got the second half of the year that he can actually...
he can still impact. Yeah. Yes, he can. And just on that... CCJ, back this week.
Well, I hope he was supposed to be back last week. And he didn't play.
Well, at this stage, at time of recording, he's meant to play limited minutes in the VFL. And who'd have had that he would beat Goda? Because Goda was miles in front of him through the pre-season, but then just keeps getting soft tissue injuries, the poor goat. So...
Well, the 2 to 3 curse...
Speaking of people on the chopping block, he's got a massive... second half of the year. And obviously he's got to gradually come into it, with manage his time and not get injuries. But when he, probably in a month's time, he'd want to start playing some really good footy in the VFL.
CCJ you're talking about for the listeners.
Who did I say? CC.
Well, no, you didn't say, but we're talking about Goda as well. But just to clarify.
Sorry, CCJ.
Just another injury. I read from someone who's got some good info at the club, who's been pretty spot on most of the time, that Jackson Archer's a couple of weeks ahead of where they thought he was going to be. So
the Goda was all summer too, wasn't he? Until he started getting injured, just to
put
a little dampener on it. But we want him back, because I don't think we've had all 5 since Parker came in play.
No, he wouldn't have.
All 5
not since he was inducted.
CCC.
Yeah, well,
when they play, all play together, undefeated. That'll be the start of our undefeated run.
You've lost me now. Well,
Sorry.
Goda, he was the 2 to 3 week curse. He's just 2 now, so hopefully that goes to 1 next week, and he has some good luck for the young fella. I want to touch on, before we get into our preview, the Basty. So I didn't get to the leaderboard.
You always forget the leaderboard. You do the votes, you hear mine, you try and argue with me, and then you forget to do the leaderboard.
Yeah, well, you might get a knock at the door from Mr. Zerha coming fend you off. We're only giving him 2, but anyway.
I've got 3 CCC blokes to stop him getting it through the door.
So let's have a look at the leaderboard. So our leader is Big X, Tristan Sherry, going for the double because, for those who didn't see on social media, our man Ryan Bastanak, who the Basty's named after, for the Brews with Basty Cup when North played Brisbane, he had his BWB medal, which he gave to Tristan Sherry for the best of field. So he's looking for the double, the Basty double.
Yes, like it.
In second place, Luke Parker on 35. Third place, Paul Curtis, still in the top 3, coming back this week on 27.
Shows what an amazing year he had. And he polled really well on the SID last year. And I reckon he'd have been probably leading at the time of his injury, or certainly top 3 easily.
And a bit of media, Chad Wingard went and said that he's close, like he's a bit of a Cyril clone with the way that he can impact with and without the ball.
Yep.
And then Harry Shees was in 4th on 25 votes, and rounding out the top 5, Luke Davies Uniacke on 20.
Right.
Right, so let's get into the Collingwood preview. The last time we met was round 14 last year. We all know how that ended up, about 40 points up at half-time, going down 119 to 118. The best on that day, George Wardlaw, was amazing. He had 30 disposals and kicked a goal. Luke Davies-Uniacke had 31, and Nicholas Larkey kicked 4 goals, all being in the first quarter.
Yes, playing on no one, because Moore was playing about 20 metres off him.
Yeah, it's a shame he's not back in, because he'd probably do the same. Having a look at the changes to the team that I'd make this week, I think we all agree that Bailey Scott goes out, so I'd bring in Zach Fisher for him, and I think Big Game Zane probably gets a rest or an omission with Paul Curtis coming back in. Now,
Paul Curtis has to come back in. That's just a lock, straight back in.
Yeah, well, there's no debate about that.
No.
As for the Aiden Core, he could make way for Cal Dawson, but I think Whitlock would have definitely played. But he's out for the next 2 weeks with concussion for mine. Like, I would have brought Whitlock in for him.
Okay, what about Big Griff?
No.
Who's playing on Mason?
Well, can we get to the preview
Okay.
when we get there, or are you going to just
I thought this was
run your own show?
I thought this was the preview pod.
Yeah, well, we've only done the same agenda rundown for the last 115 pods, but catch on, will you?
Okay.
So we've spoken about Collingwood and the fact that they're managing side bottom. Moore's out, and they've got 3 debutants coming in. Just obviously, I was at the Collingwood game last week, so having a look at their game style, they love to use their users, right? They have a lot of free will, the likes of Dacos and Houston. They don't, they're not overly defensive, so they like to push up the ground, use their users, and then once they get forward of centre, they explode, and they love their handball chains with Pendlebury, Nick Dacos and co. So
yeah, just force it forward, wave it forward, everyone, hunting numbers around the ball.
But they're not overly aggressive in terms of using the corridor from D50. They like to get it out to the wing and then bring it inboard forward to centre.
Yeah, with users by foot you're talking about, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, foot skills.
Foot skills or handball chains as well.
Yeah, to get someone open who can use the ball, not under pressure.
So the ruck battle is always one of our main focuses.
Yep, and we pretty much always win it.
And we will again, because I think Darcy Cameron is a good ruckman, but all these media people having him as a top 3 ruckman, I think he gets taught a lesson on Saturday night, and the Big X mauls him.
Yeah, I agree. Darcy Cameron plays a kick behind, the old school kick behind ruckman. So they've got a fairly small back line, which they like to repel and run off the back line. Well, he plays loose back there. So if they can force a long high ball in, he just cleans it up on his own, pretty much. He's the extra back there. So whether X runs forward and becomes a dangerous option, or we just send someone to him, crowd him out. But he is a good, solid ruckman.
He is, but he's no X-Man.
No. X will beat him around the clearances.
And he'll drive him into the ground too. Don't you worry about that.
He'll bash him up.
Let's look at the midfield battle. So obviously we know who we have running through there with LDU, Parker, Powell, Georgie Wardlaw, Jiza, and Harry, who's recently moved back up the ground against the likes of Dacos, Pendlebury, Long. The side bottom management helps us because he's been playing like he's 23 again so far this year. So it'll be interesting to see who they run through there.
Yeah, I think we've got to try and get him for pace. We've got to go quick because Pendlebury can't chase.
No, and Dacos...
Well, even if he wants to, he can't. He's just physically incapable. Can't get out of third gear. So we've got to exploit that when we've got the ball.
And Dacos has that licence as well to run off and try and create rather than play defensively.
Not a great defensive player.
No, he's not. So that'll be another area to exploit. And I don't mind your idea of last pod sending George head-to-head with him.
Yep. We'll soften him up, George. He won't like being tackled by George, and then Big X will probably fall on him.
Or just
50 metres.
Or go Harry and Nick head-to-head.
Yeah, don't mind that either.
I don't think Harry's got the spread that Nick does.
Nah, probably not. I think he's fit, Harry. He's just not fast.
Yeah, he's not as fast as Dacos. That'll be a really important battle in the midfield. Having a look at the defensive matchups. So Mason Cox, I don't know whether he'll play again this week. He was dreadful at the G last week, although it wasn't conditions for key forwards. But Charlie West, they're bringing in to debut. He's a key forward.
Yeah, okay. He's been in good form in the twos.
He has. But we're going to go off. Obviously, the team's not announced yet. But if Cox plays, then Charlie Combin's the obvious matchup.
Yes.
There. Tim Membry, I think Toby Pink probably gets that matchup.
Yep. Don't mind it. Pink will actually be taller.
Yeah.
Than an opponent for once. But he's got to watch the double step jump.
Brody Mychek is our probably best key forward anyway, although he's only about the 190, but he plays as a key. So I think Aiden Core has got to play on him, if not Cow Dawson. But I think Dawson gets pushed off it too easily, and Core needs to... I've written in capitals here, back shoulder.
Yep.
If he's going to play, he has to do what he did against Max King and what he's done. When he's played well, he's been a back shoulder operator. And no stupid frees.
Yep.
He's got to keep... The big thing for him, under 2 free kicks against.
Well,
he gave away 4 in about 10 minutes last week.
If he plays on Mychek, he's a crash and bash. He's a lead-up crunch player. A lot of ball will go through him, and he'll either mark it or bring it to ground. So just, back shoulder, absolutely. And don't grab an arm. He'll be taller than him.
Yeah, he will.
So just use your arm to reach and punch the ball.
So then looking at their small forwards, lots of danger here. Bobby Hill kicked 5 against us last year with Jacko on him, about the only person...
Yeah, and I don't think Jacko did a lot wrong, to be honest, but sometimes you can play fairly good football and you just still have 5 kicked on you.
So it's a hard matchup, but I've gone... I think Riley Hardiman is probably the option there.
Well, he'd be the quickest of our smalls. I mean, Elmac did a good job on Charlie Cameron, but I don't know... Bobby's probably a little bit different. Their smalls are all good in the air. That's the problem. Well, Bobby Hill can sit on your shoulders pretty quick.
I've got Elmac tasked with the Jamie Elliott matchup.
Yeah, that's what I'd go. Elliott's a bit thicker set, isn't he? A bit stronger. So Elmac with the senior body would be good.
And then obviously they've got O'Sullivan, who's really small and not dangerous in the air. So Caleb Daniel.
Yep.
Gets that one. Then they've got.
I was worried about the Daniel matchup, but that's good. I like it.
Yeah, and I will say I didn't specify this, but when I brought Fisher in, he either plays as the sub or as a high half forward winger.
Yeah, we don't want
I
him
think
and
he will.
Daniel both in the back line.
Nah, can't happen. And it's worth mentioning Colby McKercher as well. We didn't mention him in the midfield battle, but he had an increased midfield output last week, so even he would be a good one to send to Nick Dacos and be a good learning experience. We know he's got the pace to run around with him, even if it's only in bursts, because as we know, Nick runs his opponents into the ground, as we saw with Willfield, which a lot of supporters have called for him to come in and do the 4-quarter job. Well, he couldn't do it last year. Simply, it's as simple as that. He ran out of gas.
Yeah, Willfield. There's a bit of talk about him too, isn't there? Rumours. We won't go into that a bit later.
Yeah, we will.
But we love Willfield. I don't know. He's probably had a better pre-season this year, but Dacos is elite.
Yeah, and
even though Kane said he was unfit when he cramped up in the first match.
Will's got to carry around 26-inch pythons.
Oh, he does.
Slows him down a little bit.
Too much on the heavyweights, not enough on the treading.
Yeah. No, he's super fit.
He's good. We love him.
But Nick's another level.
Yes.
Let's have a look at the forward line matchups. So with no Darcy Moore, I think Billy Frampton gets the Nick Larkey matchup, which is another one that he should be exposing.
Oh, absolutely. I don't Frampton. He's just a plotter, isn't he? I mean, surely Larky's got to get him on the lead.
Well, he has to, and then it's the onus is on the mids to lower their eyes. He has to lead up, because if he does just stand there and call for it or run back to goal, Frampton will just intercept Mark all day. I mean, that's not his one wood, but he's stronger overhead than what Larky is.
Yeah, Larky's got to be on the move.
Looking at the other matchups, Jack Darling probably gets Jeremy Howe. I reckon that'll be the matchup there.
Yep.
As the second tall. Zerha versus Maynard. That'll be interesting one.
Yep.
Cam will be throwing fend-offs left, right and centre at him, and he'll be trying to fight everyone, old Maynard.
Yep, that'll be good. Good battle.
It will be. And then I was having a look at their selected side from last week and thinking, who's left to go to Quaynor? Like, Houston doesn't play that role. Oh, sorry, to go to Quaynor. To go to PC. I had Quaynor as the option there, because I don't think Houston can match up with PC one-on-one.
No way.
Well, not many can.
Quaynor will struggle, but he's the most suited. He's a stocky type. Can't bench press what PC can, they?
No, of course not. So that'll be... He's sort of their smaller lockdown, so if that's the case, you'd be trying to isolate that matchup as much as possible. Send him to the cage.
Yep. Drag him to the cage.
So
one out in the cage.
Our forward line looks so dangerous with PC back in. I mean, Zerhard's been in great form. He got his bag last week with 4. Probably a bag in today's football, isn't it?
Yep. Absolutely.
He's been heavily impacting the scoreboard most weeks, multiple goals. And I think if Larky he got his straight kicking going last week, so if he can get some opportunities as well, it was a really dangerous forward line with the shush man, Jacob Constanti, at the feet as well. And
still playing him?
Yep.
Over not bringing Geordie in?
I think Constanti...
Or Coop?
No, I don't think...
For goals?
I don't think Cooper Harvey has enough forward pressure. And with Collingwood...
Yes.
And chasing after the likes of Josh Dacos and Dan Houston, if you let them get easy footy out, they'll cut you to pieces.
Yes. Well, did you have Finbar in?
No.
Oh, you've dropped him?
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't have that written correctly. So, Dersma must still be in.
Yeah.
No Finbar, yeah.
Yeah. Very good. I like it.
So, yes, let's get into Baz's big call. Now, I'm feeling good about this one.
Okay.
So, my big call for this week is that Paul Curtis, Cam Zerha, and Nick Larkey all kick 3+.
Oh.
So, all three of them kick three or more
plus.
goals. I think it'll
Like
be
it.
fast football under the lid. And
Yep.
I think Collingwood's back line is susceptible with fast ball movement.
Yep.
If you just bomb it long, they'll switch off, and they do that really well with the likes of Jeremy Howe and co, and then they'll find that release to Dacos. If you do the dump kicks, they spread really quickly.
Yeah.
So if you can lower your eyes, get that fast football going in that we saw in the first quarter last week.
Yes.
And for large portions of the game against Brisbane.
And
then
large portions of the game against Collingwood last year.
Yeah.
Well, their game's built, like many are, off counter-attack off half-back, but particularly Collingwood. Yeah, so I like it.
And I think this week, another one, I'm going to go double up. I think Harry hits the scoreboard this week. I think he's only kicked 1 goal this year.
Yeah, he had a shot last week on his left. narrowly missed. So, yeah, I'd like him to kick a couple. Be good.
It would be. That's the icing on the cake for a dangerous forward line with him spending time down there, and Colby as well. He's been hitting the scoreboard a lot this year.
LDU.
So
Need to see a few options from the midfielders. They've got to hit the scoreboard, don't they?
Parker. I'd like to see Tommy Powell hit the scoreboard.
Yep.
So yes.
So we're up to about 25 goals.
Yeah.
This is going to be
big win.
Big win.
So let's get to our predictions. So I unfortunately have gone Collingwood, but 17 points is the margin. I think we give them a real shake.
Yeah, I think we'll give them a shake, and hopefully we're in it right to deep into the game. Would be nice.
All right, Clarko.
Yeah, I know we're bad Clarko for saying that, but this is a top of the ladder team. This is not a Sydney, or a Port Adelaide, or a Carlton, who are all out of the eight. This is probably the informed team of the comp, along with the Bullies.
Yeah.
So be in it deep. I think I agree with Sonia, Dr. Sonia. We could pinch it. We're not going to go in as favourites, but I think if everything falls right for us,
well, don't get me started on that. That's poor timing from your president to come out and do a radio interview after you've won a game when there was radio silence for large portions when we were under a lot of pressure.
Okay.
So I'm not sure whether it was already organised, but I love her optimism, but the optics of it didn't.
We can't say we're not going to win.
No. I don't mind the statement. The optics of her going on radio for her first radio appearance after we've won, when there was no communication from anyone but poor Toddy Viney having to go around when we were going shizen.
Yes, and where is he now? He doesn't get to stand in the limelight when we win.
Yeah, I'll tell you where he is. He's been given some leave until we have a big loss, and then here you go, Toddy. You go and take all the bullets.
Well, unfortunately, on our last 6 years, if he's on leave, stay interstate, stay local, don't go too far away. But no, we're optimists on this pod. I think 4 goals to Collingwood, unfortunately. Let's go there.
Right, so continuing our Guernsey edition, so episode 115, so we're doing our favourite number 15s. I'll go first. So mine, there wasn't a whole lot of choice, but I'll give a shout out to Paul Ahern. I really liked what he could do, and he played a game down in Tassie that we were at where Cunners had 41 and he had 43, and I thought, wow, I think he kicked a couple of goals too.
Yeah, probably kicked 3. I'm stretching the memory, but he kicked his use by foot was very good. He kicked one, off the outside of the boot and squared it up and hit someone on their own inside 50. We drove back from Boot Park, as it was then. Very happy with him, but he fell off the perch.
He did, and he was
How many games did he play?
I don't have it in front of me, but he was a top 10 draft pick.
Yes.
That we got from the Giants, didn't mind Paulie, and unfortunately couldn't go on with it. But my favourite number 15 that I've seen was Nick D'Alcino. He was someone who added so much needed class when we were starting to really push late in September, and he was probably our biggest name acquisition for quite some time when he came in, and in those big finals against Essendon and Geelong and the other finals that we won, he really stood up and added some leadership as well as a lot of class with football in hand.
Yes, agreed. Well, mine, I've got 2.
Right, you're not allowed. You have to.
I'll pick one then. Okay. Well, Malcolm Blight misses out.
Boy,
he does, because it's who you've seen, and it's going way back in time, back to the 70s and 80s, and there wasn't a lot. It wasn't like now where every match is on TV. You didn't get a lot of coverage. It was more listening to the radio, and I was probably too young to see a lot of him. So I've gone with Winston Abraham, who, funnily enough, was on the front bar, and his highlights package went for about half the show. I mean, that's how good he was. And he was cruelly cut down by injury. Injured his knee in round 1 of his last year, 2001, and didn't get the surgery right, didn't play again. He was in his prime. So he only played 72 games for us. He came across from Freo, but he took Mark of the Year in his first year with us and kicked goals, and he wasn't the best player in our team, but he just seemed to play with joy and always doing something. Moved really well, could kick long goals. Just absolutely, when you've got a really good, you got the hard nuts of Archer and Mickey Martin and Carey was a superstar, but it was also hard. He was just the cream on the cake. It, just finish off.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Premiership player.
Premiership player. Very good.
I like it. I like it a lot. And to our listeners out there, we have a wide variety of ages. Put in the comments who your favourite number 15 is that you've seen, and let's have a look at some of those over the generations. Yeah. I mean, we've got Dill Stevens now, really liking his season. He's in the top 10 in the Basty at the moment.
Yeah, is he? Yeah, he's 10th, isn't he?
He's 10th, yep.
Yes.
So he's putting together a much improved season and has really locked down what we had as Bailey Scott,
Yeah, Bailey Scott's wing, well now it's Dill Stevens' wing, and they fight for the other one.
Yeah, rotated again this week with Jai and Tommy Powell and co.
Yep.
I'd like to see more of that because we've got so many mids, we've got to find them somewhere. You mentioned before, for those who don't consume all the football media, about Will Phillips. So some talk in the Herald Sun that West Coast are scouting him and getting prepared to offer him a multi-year deal to go over and play in their midfield, which...
He'd slot straight in there. He's a starter there.
He wouldn't. I wouldn't begrudge him if he, say, only plays 2 or 3 more games the rest of the season, went and looked for opportunities elsewhere. Like, we love his passion and how much he enjoys being part of the North Melbourne Footy Club and uses the word shinboner every two words. So, yeah, that'd be an interesting one to see how it plays out, and can't quite break his way into our starting 23 with how many mids, as I mentioned before, we see named each week.
Yeah, well, he's behind Parker, and Parker's obviously got a timeline. He's not going to go on forever, but it's probably 2 or 3 years, and that can be the career. Can't it for Will? If he doesn't want to be stuck behind him for 2 or 3 years. Even if it's only 2 years, then we'll probably have young Harris come in, who's another 180-centimetre midfielder. So you may well fall behind him in time. Like, you only get one career, so I wouldn't blame him. But having said that, I don't want him to go.
No, not at all.
And we're not going to get much trade for him. Even if he's a starter in there, the best we'll probably get is a 3rd rounder maybe at best, or a swap of seconds, maybe move up the draft board. I don't know. We want more, but if you think we're going to get a top 10 pick for him because he was a former pick 3, it's not going to happen because he's not playing like a pick 3. If he was playing like a pick 3, he'd be in our starting midfield.
We'd be lucky to get a pick above 50.
Yeah, I think the best we could hope, maybe move up and swap some seconds and thirds or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, hopefully it doesn't come to that, because hopefully he gets a game and then dominates.
Yeah.
Because we've got Parker at the moment, and he had a bad game on the weekend, but he's been very good for the year. Like, what is he, 2nd in the Basty?
Yep.
So he's been good for the year, but as I said, there's a timeline on how long he can go for.
Yeah, well, I think Luke's over-delivered in the midfield. Like, he's not playing the split we had predicted, and that's not a bad thing. It's because he's producing when he goes in the midfield, and he's offering that grunt that Will Phillips brings when he comes in. So he's holding him out, but...
And every stoppage, you see him pointing and directing. So he's giving that leadership, which we want him for, setting up, because it's crucial. The setup around the stoppages, if we get that wrong, they get an easy outlet.
Right. Let's get into our tipping. Thanks again to our sponsors, SC Rings, who have jumped on us again. Do you reckon anyone would have picked the perfect round last week?
Oh, no, I didn't. I was a long way off.
Yeah, well, you can say that for most weeks, I reckon. You're.
I think I'm ahead of you.
Well, that wouldn't be hard either, I wouldn't have thought. But having a look at the leaderboard here, Bull's cooking, still on top. He
is cooking.
He is. And the highest in our competition was 6 last week. So a tough week for the tipsters.
Yes.
So let's get into round 11, which looks like it's going to be a really good round of footy. So starts off down the highway for our Melbourne listeners.
Yep.
With Geelong and the Dogs tonight.
They're doggies. I think they're the informed team, along with Collingwood.
Yeah, I think doggies are the best team in the comp at the moment. And if we spoke last year about selling stock on Brisbane and how that went, but if we're in the stock market with the AFL sides, I'd be buying lots of stock of the Dogs with Darcy not far away either.
Yeah.
Friday night, the Dreamtime, Essendon and Richmond.
Yeah, I might watch a movie. Those teams don't interest me. We beat Richmond, but I think Richmond can cause the upset, but I'll tip Essendon.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I hope Richmond win, but
yeah,
I don't really.
Although we want to get above Richmond.
Yeah,
We want to get above Essendon as well. We want to get above everyone.
Saturday, a doubleheader at Marvel. First time they've done that in a long time, if at all. I can't remember them ever doing 2 games on the same day.
Yeah.
But they want to bring it in.
Okay. Are they emptying everyone out?
Yes, they are. So it's a 12...
Even the 35 Giants fans? Are you making them leave? Or they'd be like to say and cheer for us, wouldn't they?
Can't be potting the Giants on the pod. If there's a team we want to pot, I don't think they're in the top 15.
I'm just saying they won't have a lot of fans there.
Oh, boy.
I'm going the Giants.
So am I.
So I'm not potting them, I'm backing them.
Carlton are garbage. Hawthorn and the Lions at the MCG.
Hawks at the G.
Brisbane respond for me.
Okay, like it. There's a point of difference.
We've both gone the Pies over the Kangas,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
begrudgingly. I can see an upset brewing there.
Freo and Port Adelaide.
Oh, Freo.
I got Freo, but you wouldn't know. Like, they can't win at home,
Oh,
and
you
they
wouldn't
go over and beat the Giants at NG, and then they'll probably lose to Port. It'll be the most Freo thing ever.
Yeah, true, but I still think they'll win because Port are trash.
Completely agree. Adelaide and West Coast.
Adelaide, move on.
80 plus.
It depends on the weather, obviously, but yeah, if it's a good football conditions, yes.
I think Fogarty and Co fill their boots. And
Yep.
sad news about McGovern too, that his career might be over.
It is, yeah, concussion.
Melbourne and Sydney.
Oh, another tough one, but I'll go D's.
I've gone the Swans.
They'd be your second team now, wouldn't they, after all that time you spent at the MCC?
Well, that's going to get me on a little waffle tangent because underground they've got the in the members area they've got the bar, but there's no stools because it's standing room only, which is frustrating when you do like what we do and get there when the gates open. You got nowhere to sit.
Yeah, well, you have a froth.
First world problems.
First world problems, absolutely.
And to close out the round, we've got the Saints and the Suns at the Marvel.
Yeah, I think Suns.
Yeah, I think St Kilda are garbage, as they showed by losing to West Coast. So
Yes, and I did read on the AFL website that the Suns have got the second easiest draw from now to come home with. Obviously based on this year's ladder positions. So
well, they had the first easiest to start.
Yeah, yes, and they've got a game in hand, which will be against Essendon, who would have given up by then. And don't even get me started. This is the North Pod, but they want James Hird. There's rumblings that he's coming back to coach. You heard that?
To coach Essendon.
Well, their ex-president,
Paul Little, yeah.
Paul Little.
I'm across the story, but
Yeah.
for the listeners.
Yeah, he wants to come back on the board and bring James.
Well, I think
Really?
it's hilarious because it's the first time that rabble has had stability in a long time. And
Yeah.
regardless of what you think of Brad Scott, they've got
Well,
stability.
he's better than James Hird.
And-
let's be fair, they can't forgive what happened under his reign with Dr. Dank.
It's not like bringing back a 5-time premiership coach. He was average.
Yes.
He was an average footy coach.
Yes.
So
Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but we just laugh at what they're becoming. They've finally got some stability, and now they're going to implode again.
did you see Merritt out for coffees with her?
No. Oh, they had all their captains
Yeah.
met for a coffee. Yep. Anyway, it's not an Essendon pod. Get off them.
No, but it's hilarious though. It's funny to sit back and watch because it'd be another 21 years before they taste some September success.
Yes.
Right, that's just about us.
Right,
Short and sharp.
I'm doing a tease upcoming with the draft, how I'm fixing the draft, and I've got to get in now because I watched Gettable and Riley Beveridge has stolen my thunder. Well, I've been saving it for the buy, so I'm going to drop it in the buy when we have the buy because we won't have much to talk about Northwise, so we'll fill in a bit of waffle with the draft. But it's basically he dropped, which is on my agenda, the academies and father-sons. You can't have, if you've got a father-son, let's look at Blakey, let's look at Scott, there'll be others, Darcy. You can't be part of, well, he's not part of an academy. Well, who's the bloke at Sydney Academy? Our ex. McCartney. He's at the Sydney Academy. He's his dad's football manager at GWS and he's should be a father-son for North. So I think the academies are meant to produce footballers from non-football traditions. Well, if your dad's played football at AFL level, there's a fair chance you've had a sharing in your hand sometime growing up. So it should just, no, you can't have an academy player who's over a father-son. If you're a father-son, it's father-son only. And I think the whole footy world would be happy with that. It's not as if Gold Coast haven't got enough choice with all their academy players, or Brisbane.
Well, while we're on father-sons, I was talking earlier in the pod about buying stocks in the dogs. Well, they've got another Darcy coming through, and he's a shorter brother. He's only 196.
Oh, yeah, tiny.
And he's a key defender, which is exactly what they need.
Yeah, well, they got Buslinger too. I wouldn't mind looking at him at the end of the year if he's out of contract.
I like it.
Anyway, we'll get on to the draft deeper. In the buy, I've got my how to fix all this academy father-son stuff.
And just before we go, big shout out to the AFLW girls who are back at the club now looking to defend the title.
Yes, the undefeated, undisputed champions of the world, the AFLW Kangaroo Girls. Yeah, very exciting to see them get back. And O'Loughlin won the time trial.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had that.
Gotta be flat.
It got to be flat. Yes, absolutely. So good on her. High half forward, get up and back, up and back.
No, she's just improving and improving year on year. So I look forward to see what she can bring in season 2025.
Yes, and the new numbers were delivered as well. For signed, we won't go through them, but it's on the website.
Well, the high-profile one's Eilise Sheeran, who's rocking the number 4. So
Yep, they were good numbers handed out.
Yeah.
Just rolling that. 4, 29, 21,
22 as well.
22, yeah, good numbers. None of these 47, 48, 49 types.
Well, Richmond, they had a 48, a 49. I think they had 4 or 5 players in the 40s on the weekend against us.
Yes, and just we're on Harry, do a bit of Media Street. Harry was on, what's that show with?
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
Haven't caught it yet, have you?
It's on the website though, if you haven't caught it.
Have you watched it yet?
Oh, it's a bit of it.
I've seen a couple of clips where he talks about how he wants to win premierships with North, and that gets me.
Yeah,
that gets me excited.
Jumper.
That gets me excited.
And Winnie Abraham, who we were talking about on the front bar, that's on the website as well, so you can check that out. And I'm sure those who are more media savvy and social savvy than me can find on plenty of other platforms. But it's certainly worth a watch.
Down at the club today too. You probably haven't seen that, Winnie.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's talking to the boys, and there'll probably be a video out later today.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I'll certainly watch that. He spoke well on the front bar.
Yeah, I love the bit where he said...
Mind you, you've only got to string a sentence together to look good on the front bar, don't you, with those clowns?
What about
Although I do enjoy it. I say that in a flattering way.
What about what he said about the 99 grand final? We knew it was won as soon as the siren went in the Carlton Essex game.
We're playing Carlton next week. Yep, we've got it won. Well, that was pretty true, to be fair. You're always nervous going into a grand final, but we were heavy favourites.
Right, that's about us then.
Okay, till next time, Carnakangas.
Thanks very much, guys, for tuning in once again. Please subscribe on whatever platform you are using. That's us. We'll be back to review the Collingwood game on Sunday. Until next time, thanks for listening. Go Roos!
Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.